Yeah, I'm sitting here listening to records all the time and just trying to remember what it was like to just kind of be inspired to begin with.
Me too, man.
Hey folks, how you doing out there? I know you're safe at home. I am as well, right here, broadcasting from the safety of our second bedroom. It's just Dave, and I am joined today by a former Californian, now a Nashvilleian, and a man who just has a record out, and you've been hearing nothing but great stuff about it. It's Brian Wright from Brian Wright and the Sneakups. How you doing, man?
I'm great, Dave. How are you? How you holding up out there?
I need a haircut, Brian.
Man, me too.
I need it.
Me too. Mine's longer than maybe it's ever been. It's ridiculous. I look like Sebastian Bach when I let it down.
Yeah,
the old grizzled version.
I look like Lorenzo Lamas in his heyday, man. I know that I see you're in this awesome studio back there. Is that your rehearsal space? Where is that?
This is the Roost. This is where we made the record. It's a shed in my backyard, sort of a glorified shed, but
looks
we've
great.
got just a pile of instruments and stuff to make music, and it's kind of my favorite room in the whole world.
Yeah, it looks amazing out there. It's inspirational and all kinds of cool stuff around. And now, tell me about the release, because I know May 8th you came out with the album Lapse of Luxury, and subsequently have been releasing some signals. Of course, we'll play that on the California Country Show and have links below. What's that been like, releasing a record in this climate, and how much of this climate did you include as you released this record?
Well, I couldn't say as to how much I included it. It feels good to release the record because we worked on it for a very long time. But it's weird. It's weird because I had planned on going out and playing shows for people, and I'd been working with a band and making plans to go out and do it in some regular way. And now that's not the way. So in that regard, it was strange. But I will say that perhaps as a result of people's isolation, or just sort of, for better or worse, being a captive audience, I think that it's gaining a little more attention, or maybe than it would have been, because when people are able to go out and live their lives normally. I would say that it's been great. I would say that so far it's kind of exceeded any expectations that we had, and people seem to enjoy it, which is we're happy for.
Yeah. Now, as far as promoting a record, kind of the typical way of doing it is releasing it and then touring off of it, or at least getting those songs and showcasing stuff like that. So, yeah. How are you handling that with the absence of shows?
Well, we're going to try. I mean, we've done a little bit of the live streaming thing that everyone's doing, and we're trying to kind of find new and creative ways to do that, because the album is such kind of a fun, strange, sort of really groovy record. And since I'm largely here by myself or with my wife or our partner here, we're finding a new way to do it. We haven't I don't want to say too much because I'm not sure if it's going to work. But
you don't want to promise too much.
We're trying to find ways to present it, sort of as we intended, which is this fun, groovy thing. And, there's certainly songs that lend themselves to the singer-songwriter kind of format, and sitting here with a guitar is fun, but that's not what we planned for. And so we're having to sort of adapt as everyone is, but it's fun. And the result so far, the experiments are going well. We'll see what the final result is very soon.
Well, I think I told you when we were just testing our things and dealing with tech issues, just in this simple form of interview, I mean, going live on the internet is a thing that we were never really built to learn how to do. This is a whole new skill set that requires, safety of others around us, but also learning, cameras and audio signals and bit rates and upload speeds and all the things that, and also, too, you have to remember to tune your guitar at the same time. Right.
That was hard enough for me to begin with.
That was just the one thing was tough.
Exactly. No, I mean, I have to remember to press. Yeah, there's a lot more buttons to push. There's a lot more preferences to open and things to line up. And it seems like there's always this one more thing that I was missing. Thankfully, we have Gabe Masterson here to help us with our technical issues.
And then, so talk to me about some of the songs on the record. I know that I plan to play "What You Don't Know." What went into those songs?
A lot. I mean, I guess I'll give you the Cliff Notes version, but I started off a few years ago, I guess 2017. Gabe and I had built this studio in this shed. And I think the first thing I wanted to do was make a quick sort of Americana, very rootsy record. I had a batch of songs that I was, that I had planned to record very quick and probably live with a band or something like that. And I began it that way. But as I started to kind of get rolling with that frame of mind, it just didn't feel inspiring. It felt like something that I had done a lot already,
Oh.
And I just wanted to make something more fun. And so we started kind of just turning the songs on their heads and experimenting with sounds and figuring out new ways to present these songs that were basically folk songs in the beginning, and just turn them on their head and make them groovier and more fun and not quite, I don't know. It was just a new sonic path.
But they sound big. I mean, there's a big band. There's a lot. I mean, there's room sounds. There's some production going on here. It's not just a dude standing in front of a mic.
We had a blast. Gabe, as I said, is a great engineer and a great producer, and he and I just had fun figuring out our little spaceship. We messed around. I did 3 or 4 different versions of songs before I found the right one a lot of times, because it was nice to have the time to do it. And I really feel like I got to get out what I wanted to, because there wasn't a clock ticking, and it really was a good indication of what I was feeling artistically over the last few years and where I wanted to go with it. And so, yeah, it got big and it got strange. And a lot of times we were just trying to make each other laugh, which we did. It's super fun. And we were dancing around and grooving, and thought if it was this much fun for us to make it, hopefully it would be fun for people to listen to.
Yeah, no, you can definitely tell it exists in some albums where it's just like you can just hear. That sounds dumb, but you can hear friendship, you can hear connections and those like that. Just hearing breath, that
doesn't sound dumb at all. I'm glad that you can hear it. I'm glad you can feel it. The records I like, you could always kind of feel the humanity underneath it and the vibe of the place they were made, whether it was, someone's basement or a fancy studio. You could feel that it was being made in the right place at the right time.
And what's life like in Nashville right now? Is the city starting to open up?
Not as much as as the rest of the state. I think the rest of the state is kind of a free for all, but we're still kind of locking it down for the most part. It's kind of up to people's discretion, but most of the businesses are still closed, aside from restaurants and things that you can still get takeout from. But it's weird, man. As you know, Nashville took a beating this year. I mean, aside from the thing that everyone's going through with COVID, we had that big tornado that
right before everything went down. A lot
of our friends and wiped out a lot of the venues in a very important, just did a lot of damage financially and personally to our community. And then right on the heels of that, this thing comes along and just kind of takes care of the rest of it. But I will say that Nashville has handled it as they usually do, in my experience, with beauty and grace and like trying to come together, and help each other out. It's been really beautiful to watch. You hate that it's happened, but it at least in our community, it's brought out the best in people, as it usually does.
Yeah, that's good to see. It was quite just a strange thing to watch. I mean, like seeing the basement east, torn in half, and after just partying there like weeks before, and just it's just so crazy. And then we
were all there that night. My wife and I played that night.
Were you? Wow.
We left about an hour before the tornado hit, and certainly we feel very lucky. But we were so glad that the staff, and everybody, they missed it by seconds. They got in the basement, the basement of the basement.
Oh, so it's not just a clever name.
They just made it. They just made it in time, and fortunately, no one was hurt or worse. And but we hated to lose the venue. I mean, those guys are family to us, but they're rebuilding, and a lot of that area got hit. Gabe's house is right there in 5 Points, and he got hit. He took his, did a lot of damage to his house. Not as bad as some, thankfully, but everybody. It's a very. It was a catastrophe that they were still recovering from in spite of the COVID thing.
Yeah. And what about the next phase of Brian Wright? I mean, are you guys still holding on to some dates, hoping that they'll happen, or how are we playing? Getting out
man,
there?
we are taking it as it is right now. We're getting into, as we discussed earlier, kind of learning the tech of it all and trying to present what we can from home and to promote this record. But also we stay really busy with Cafe Rooster. A lot of our artists were really hardcore touring, the Minks and Blackfoot Gypsies are road dogs. And so they definitely had the rug pulled out from under them, and they're adapting, and we're trying to release some singles and do some different things. And everybody's got their little artistic hustles, but we work hard with like our Cafe Rooster thing is always sort of a collective effort anyway, and even more so now. So we're staying very busy with that. And thankfully our audience has been very helpful and supportive. Everybody's live streaming, and like Matthew Page from Blackfoot Gypsies, he's making hats, and you can get him at Mad Hatter. You can find him at Mad Hatter on Insta or Facebook or whatever. And Nikki makes clothes, and they're making films, and they're making videos, and everybody's an artist. They're going to be making art, and we're just trying to stay busy doing that and trying to keep the lights on at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing that people don't assume from artists, even though maybe not considered an essential employee by some standards. The music and the art, that doesn't stop. It's just not being displayed the same way it was, and we're all learning.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd say that it is certainly essential, but no, I get your point as far as it's not the grocery store, but artists are gonna make art, and certainly at this time, I think it's a thing that's keeping a lot of people's morale up. From television, people are watching a lot of TV, listening to a lot of music, hopefully reading, doing things that really soaking in the arts right now, and hopefully that'll have a positive outcome.
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening to records all the time and just trying to remember what it was like to just kind of be inspired to begin with.
Me too, man. Me too. I was just showing my kid the joy of putting on headphones and looking at an LP. I bought him I bought him an album that he wanted, this Travis Scott record, and he was sitting on the couch checking it out,
holding
listening to
it
headphones.
open. Yeah, it's nothing like it. Yeah.
Very valuable way to spend some time.
Brian Wright and the Sneakups. The new album is called Lapse of Luxury and is out now on vinyl and on digital. So go ahead and snatch that up. Where can we find your music, my man?
Well, you can find it at brianwrightsongs.com. The easiest place to find it is caferoosterrecords.com. All of my stuff there, all of my records are there. And as well as all of our other artists, please stop by and check them out. And thank you so much, Dave, for having me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, my man. Thank you so much, and best of luck. Stay healthy over there, and I'm loving that. I'm loving that vibey place, man. So keep writing them good songs, my man. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good day.